Saludos a todo el mundo, soy Danska, os doy la bienvenida al episodio número 27 de Pillars of Eternity 2 de Deadfire aquí en nuestra logia Pathfinder de YouTube. Vamos a seguir donde habíamos dejado contra el guardián de Ukaizo, pero señor guardián, vengo a nivel 17, casi 18, bueno, casi, que dice casi, ¿sabéis? Me falta un pelín. Así que esto debe de ser easy. Además he conseguido un arma súper graciosa para Scad. El apuñalapotas. Es un arma pensada para ir borracho. Es que a Scad le pega muchísimo. Me encanta. También he comprado un arma en Neketaka legendaria para Maya y cosas así, ¿vale? He mejorado equipos, cositas así, ¿vale? Subí de nivel, hemos conseguido cositas. He cambiado el grimorio a Ailot también. Muchas cosas. Creo que debería de ser más o menos sencillo hacer esto ahora mismo. Bueno, sencillo, quiero decir. Viable. Creo que debería ser viable. ¿Cuántos niveles me saca ahora? 2. O sea que es 19. Curioso. Eso es, vete por el pájaro. No, mierda, se lo he tirado a ese. Ah, no. No se lo he tirado a este. Pues menos mal. Ok, vente ya aquí. Vale, va a hacer cosas, vamos a intentar interrumpirle. ¿No? Debe que no. ¿Tú puedes interrumpir con algo de esto? Ni de coña, ¿no? Ni de coña. Voy a tirarle esto a este para matarle y recuperar el fervor. Vale. Por favor, Eder. No me jodas. Bien. Que nivel 17, amigo. Ya no es nivel 14. Bueno, no quiero gastar muchas cosas ahora porque realmente falta por... se va a curar y tal. Ya lo vimos en el otro combate. Ni voy a gastar fervor en ponerle la marca. Cuando lo sabe, tengo que poner a los otros. Además, como ahora le pegamos bien. Le pegamos muy bien. ¿Puede ser que le puedo parar? Ah, no. Vale. Digo, a lo mejor les llama... No, les llama igualmente. Con una habilidad y se la puede interrumpir. Pero no, igualmente... Igualmente ya hacia aquí. Vale, marcamos y le pegamos. Vale. Me ha empujado la paladina, ¿no? Sí, aquí.
Let's get another round, another crit.
Need a hand?
Cago en la puta.
I didn't like that.
You were saying?
Vamos a hacer focus a este. Mientras aquí tanquea lo que puede Eder.
Yes. Shem.
Me rendará tirar esto.
Little something for you.
Sí. Sí que ha rentado, sí. Así que me has hecho un favor, amigo.
This thing isn't doing the job.
Ready when you are.
La verdad que casi que me has hecho un favor.
You can't win.
Speak freely. For the homeland.
Los bichos tienen mucha vida, para utilizar eso que he hecho, que he utilizado. Es bastante risky. Y creo que me voy a seguir de rango un ratito.
What now? Okay.
Your orders? For the homeland. Might as well be hitting the
Ay, no le he
water.
tirado esto, soy idiota. Efectivamente.
Rather difficult to concentrate.
Need a hand?
Dagger, dagger, dagger. Yes.
Bueno. Aguanta, Scaf, un poquito. Solo un poquito. Voy a intentar interrumpirle.
Need something stronger.
Ashiza, strike.
Need a hand? This fight is mine.
Bien.
Yes.
Ay, Scaf, te tienes que curar por tu cuenta, amigo. Ay, no tengo nada.
Killing someone? Oh, please.
Oh?
Que no pasa nada porque le puedo levantar y demás, ¿no? Pero... Ay, mierda, soy idiota. No te he gastado ese hechizo, me acabo de dar cuenta. No sé si esto va a afectar, vamos a jugárnosla. Pero eso puede hacer mucho daño.
Just say the word.
You were saying?
¿Quieres dejar a Scaf, cabrón? Me preocupan las áreas de este ahora, la verdad. Ah,
Watch my hands.
le hemos recuperado la... Me gusta. Voy a salirme porque no me fío del área. va a tirar el cabrón este.
Damn the lads.
No hemos fallado.
May I be a candle in the night.
Speak freely.
Y también te voy a alejar un poquito por si acaso.
Can't move.
Need a hand? You can't win.
Yes. Another for the queen.
Vale, pero esto es otro rollo ya, ¿eh? Este combate bastante más... Y eso, me falta bajarle toda la vida a este. No sé si luego va a sacar más enemigos, ¿no? Pero
That's not very helpful.
bastante más controlado que el otro.
Right between the eyes.
Show me. Little something for you.
Ay, no hemos recuperado. Ahí hemos perdido un montón de... Bueno,
Yes.
está yendo tan bien que me estaba extrañando, la verdad.
Need a hand?
You were saying?
Hey.
Right on target. I cannot whack him any harder.
Show me.
Yes?
You were saying? She's up. She might as well be hitting the water.
Hey.
Vale. Voy a jugármela. Ahí está, la interrumpimos. Perfecto.
Yeah?
No, jugármela no. Voy a gastar el fortalecimiento. También voy a gastar aquí para recuperar recursos, pues me van a hacer falta. De hecho, te vamos a marcar.
I'm here.
Hay que ver si inmune al suelo este porque vuela. ¡Qué bueno!
I hope you know what you're doing.
¡Qué gracioso! Uf, me ha acercado mucho, para eso.
Your orders?
¿Hago la marca, imagino? Sí.
Right between the eyes.
I'm here.
Mira, no te acerques ahí que te vas a comer el área del otro. Piénsalo, Daniel. Vale, voy a tirar eso que explota. Por lo que me voy a alejar con Ishiza.
This is futile.
También te vas a alejar por el que dirán.
Something I can do.
Tú te puedes aguantar el S sin problema.
Leave it to me.
Yeah? You better run.
I'm listening. You see that, Ishi? Can't get a clean hit.
En realidad sigue saliéndome más rentable utilizar esto.
You were saying?
Por otro son dos ataques. Me gasta dos, pero es que cada uno de estos es un ataque gratis que hago en esta ronda.
Yes. This one's mine.
I cannot whack him any
¿En
harder.
serio? ¿Se ha vuelto a curar? ¿Curar? Madre mía. Por lo menos esta no está a tope, ¿no? Pero... Tío puta. ¿Cuántas cabezas va a tener para curarse?
What do you need?
Yeah? Take this.
You were saying? You see that, Ishi?
Ah, ya ha sacado un bicho, ok.
Your orders? Your orders? Give me the order. I've got this, Captain.
No llego y me pongo en la zona del área, yo creo.
I cannot whack him any harder.
Te toma por culo.
Just say the
Me ha
word.
metido miedo aquí.
Death to our
Está así inmune al miedo, así que sin problema.
I'm here. Dagger. Oh, I need a new approach. Yes.
I'm listening. I've got this, Captain. You were saying?
Me voy a alejar. Que no me fío.
What now?
Show me. Dagger, dagger, dagger.
Speak freely.
Igualmente, no sé cuántas veces más se va a curar, pero está controlado, creo.
better try something else.
Estos dos están muy bien.
I'm on it.
Show me. Here we go.
What now?
Entonces, lo que vamos a hacer ahora es lanzar esto para tener un arma, digamos, a melee.
Ready when you are.
No te voy a poder interrumpir con nada. Es que igual me puede hacer mucho daño, ¿no? ¿Cuánto?
You can't win.
No me merece la pena.
You were saying?
Ah, que me tiene tarjeteado a mí. Qué bien. Pues lánzate esto.
Rather difficult to concentrate.
Dagger, dagger, dagger.
Básicamente nos hemos puesto un arma que creo que hace es como si fuera melee y luego lanzamos un hechizo
Yes?
que nos va a dar mejor. Sacrificamos temporalmente el poder arcano a cambio de poder marcial. Por eso me he puesto este arma, porque ya lo que vamos a hacer es ir a melee.
No mercy. Better than that.
Speak
Y
freely.
fallamos. Voy a activarme esto.
Might as well be hitting the water.
Yeah?
Oh?
He perdido el hechizo, ¿no?
Aye.
Ah, no, no lo he perdido. Vale.
Show me. Understood. Another round, another crit.
Speak freely.
Bueno.
Something I can do.
Me he equivocado de botón. Bueno.
Leave it to me.
Pensaba que iba a tirar esto, pero no tenía.
Yeah?
Bueno.
Better run.
Aún así deberíamos de poder aguantar.
Show me.
Speak freely. You see that, Ishi?
Hey.
Not even
Just say
close.
Tírale al suelo, cabrón.
How may I help? Yeah, this is futile.
I'm here. Here we go.
Vale, esto está hecho, gente.
You were
Salvo
saying?
que de repente se cure otra vez.
Just a scratch.
Something I can do.
Ready when ha!
I'm here. Here, catch.
Ahí está. Let's go. Muérete, cabrón. Voy a saquearlo todo.
Well, I'd prefer something with a little more stabbing.
20 minutos de combate. Vamos a quitar el combate por turnos. Ok. No. Quería ver. Nos da experiencia. Uy, casi subimos al 18. Ok. Pues nada, vamos a buscar al señor Eozas. Cuando quieras juego, ¿eh? Sin prisa.
Hope you got a way of turning off that storm. Looks unfriendly. Mean-spirited, even.
Segundo, gente. Estoy viendo una cosilla en el móvil que es importante. Vale. Una impetuosa tormenta oculta la ciudad, pero puedes distinguir la forma de distantes capiteles. ¿Capiteles? En plan. Alzándose de ruinas inundadas, sí, creo que sí, que es lo que yo creo que es. Los vientos espirituales tiran de tu alma con instancia, como una mano firme intentando de tirar una capa desde atrás. ¿Recuerdas la última vez que te encontraste en un Biawak? Parece que fue hace una eternidad. Bueno, hemos llegado. Gracias por acompañarme otra vez al fin del mundo. Creo que no puedo estar más explorado. Vamos allá. Hemos subido de nivel. Hemos subido de nivel. Un puntito más. Solo voy a parar esto por ponérselo. Y tú... Uf, no sé en qué ponerlo. Bueno, venga, más inmunidades. Porque puedes. A ver, tú en realidad esto, pero... No le voy a sacar mucho partido. Esto era...
How may I help?
Tú sí que me interesas. Porque esto puede estar interesante. No. Ah, no, ya lo he cogido. Ah. Voy a pillar esto que ahora no lo tengo. Con el cambio del grimorio. Y por último, Eder, el buen amigo Eder.
If you
insist.
¿Y dónde está Eozas?
Already on it.
A pesar de que el aire está en calma, el dispositivo de la cúspide de la torre gira de forma imparable. Estás en el ojo de la tormenta que ha aislado el mortero de Ondra del resto de Hora durante cientos de años. Es un panel de control anticuado, su palanca se encuentra en posición de encendido. Una profunda percusión hace temblar la torre desde sus cimientos. En algún lugar de la oscuridad de la tormenta, Eozas toma impulso con su puño para propinar un poderoso golpe. El panel de control ha soportado mejor los milenios que el resto de la ciudad. Una capa de polvo cubre los elegantes tubos de vidrio. Vamos a desactivarlo y se apagará la máquina, la tormenta. ¿No? Siglos aquí esta tormenta ocultando la ciudad perdida y llegamos nosotros, le damos un interruptor y lo
Machine
apagamos.
controlling the storm winds down. The clattering of its machinery settles into a low whir and then, at last, hiccups to a halt. Beyond the tower, the black, roiling clouds of Andra's mortar roll away from the ancient city of Ukaizo, with only a tired sigh of wind to see them off. And on that last breath of wind, comes to you a familiar sound. The ring of a bell.
Hola,
The
Vera.
bell's ringing is soft, not the clangor and torrent you've grown used to. It calls to your soul, and your soul yearns to follow it. Your soul flees from your body and into the beyond, chasing that sound. It leads you at last to Bareth's realm, to that cold platform and room of endless doors.
La habitación de Vera.
Watcher, your journey nears its conclusion.
The pallid night stands before you, her gaunt face impassive.
Soon you will confront Aethys for what will likely be the final time, and you will do so as the Herald of Bareth, the only creature on the face of Aora to whom he will listen. Remember that.
The pallid night inclines her head to you, black hair hanging lank in her face. She steps back and cedes the floor to Helia with a small, resigned sigh.
If Aethys truly intends to go through with his mad plan to destroy the wheel, a generation's worth of souls will be trapped in the in-between. So many would suffer. How can Aethys be so cruel? He cannot just abandon them. Aethys must help the Kith find a quick solution.
Abaddon strides forward.
Aethys thrust this crisis on the Kith. They did not bring it upon themselves. Their only mistake was entrusting us to watch over them. Who will help them rebuild their world now?
Pues yo, qué remedio.
Aethys will reveal every secret of the gods. Will Kith be able to change the established order if they have no wonder to inspire them? Aethys must help them resolve this quickly, lest every one of Aora's few remaining mysteries be laid plain.
With the wheel destroyed, Kith will tear themselves apart. It is the gods' duty to prevent that happening, lest they doom us all. And as Kith must be ruled, so too must the gods. I say that if Aethys is so eager to throw down the mantle of power and step aside, I shall take my rightful place as Queen of the Gods again.
Claro que sí.
Kith are strongest when they follow our lead, and we are strongest when we lead in turn. United in purpose with the gods, Kith can accomplish things that without us, they could never have even begun. They must be shown their boundaries to surpass them.
Kith will not solve Aethys' puzzle on their own. And without an established order to fight against, the bonds that bind them dissolve, and they fight amongst themselves.
Güey, es que no quiere que lo solucionen, que es la reina y está por encima de todos vosotros. No te engañes.
Orca's firm hand is but the motherly smothering of Helia by another name. Mortals should have no special advantages. Only once Kith have striven to improve themselves through trial will they truly know their measure. Kith must suffer to find their strength if they are to survive the world into which Eothas drags them. Our intervention in your struggle would be a cruelty and counter to our purpose.
He lets his words hang in the air for a moment.
Así como dicen, estás por tu cuenta.
Indeed. Kith must discover for themselves what it is they are worth, and of what it is they are capable. What we do for them, they do not learn for themselves. Trial breeds ingenuity. If our work of generations was not in vain, Kith will succeed in
Están dando por hecho de que no voy a poder parar a Eothas, ¿no?
I have faith in Kith's ability to meet Eothas' challenge. Do not mistake my words for indifference, Watcher. They are born from a fierce belief in your potential, not a refutation of it.
Yo solamente diré que uno de vosotros me ha intentado convencer de que los mortales están destinados a fracasar, pero yo no lo creo.
And yet you come to Okaizo alone, with none at your back. All that Kith stand to lose. And even then your leaders could not join hands, squabbling instead over prestige and resources. You believe that will change when my final death comes calling? You are a greater fool than I thought. Margaret is blinded by her affection for mortals. She does not see that entropy is the destiny of all things. If Eothas were wise, he would destroy
Están Croetus.
End life, end
Fin del todo. Ya está.
end death. Kith have had their chance. It is time to let silence reign.
As Rimmergon's words fade, the Pallid Knight returns. She no longer towers over you, a giant even among the gods, but meets you at your height. She lets the arms crossed over her chest fall to her sides. She speaks to you openly, plainly, an expression almost like tenderness.
Well, Watcher, you know where we stand. What do you believe?
Me da igual, eso también es muy escarte. El cambio duradero exige sacrificio. Los días venideros serán difíciles, pero mejoraremos con ello.
Take care that you do not sacrifice all, Watcher. Only what you must. The things you stand to lose, lives, institutions, beliefs, you may lose for good. Now the time has come for us to part, Watcher. I laid upon you a difficult duty, and I know you desire to be free of it. You will be in time, but not now. You have work to do yet. You are no stranger to hard choices. You killed Theos, and when his soul was laid bare before you, you chose to destroy it. You granted him peace.
Bueno, eso de que le concedí paz es una forma de verlo.
Remember the strength it took to make that choice, and know that you alone may sway Eothas now. When you stand before him, choose your words carefully.
The gods depart one by one in brooding silence. A solitary figure remains perfectly still until the last of her
Esto es lo que yo le haría a
colleagues is
Wedica.
out of earshot.
Mira, así te hago.
Wodica peers down at you, a triumphant grin splitting her weathered
Es que
features.
te juro que acabaría con los dioses solamente para acabar con ella, ¿eh? Mira que el resto me caen bien, pero es que ella, si pudieran matarla solamente y el resto que se hubieran perfecto.
Bareth is a fool if she thinks I'll let her enjoy the last word. You were trusted with a heavy responsibility, Watcher. Speaking for mortals and representing their interests in the future to come.
¿Tú has aprendido algo?
Instead of working with mortals, you came this far on your own. You rejected compromise, idealism, and the solutions of others. My every suspicion is confirmed. Society needs us. Eora searches for its queen and finds only an empty throne. I won't disappoint my subjects for long. Before we part, what compelled you to reject every dissenting voice and go your own way?
No era personal, solamente quería que la gente resuelva sus problemas y que sus problemas no afectasen a mi labor de salvar el puto mundo.
Consider my curiosity appeased. For now, in our grandest plans, you are singularly unpredictable. Well, I hope you're satisfied
Ay, mira, me
with
salta
your
uno.
performance. We've learned much from each other. The
Adiós.
trading companies, the locals, and even the pirates had desperate, half-cocked plans to counter this threat. You denied them all, rightfully judging mortals as ill-equipped to claim their destiny. I couldn't agree more. When at last I claim my place of leadership among you, the only challenge will be convincing the others to go along with my revised plan of Eora.
Voy a acabar con los dioses solamente por acabar contigo, asquerosa. ¡Asquerosa!
Outlook on mortals and their chances of success. He already has everything he wants, so go and listen to his empty-headed idealism. The rest of us will be sharpening our blades. Prepare.
Haz comida. Ah, mira, le está ahí dando puñetazos. Pum. Al disiparse por completo la energía, tu conciencia vuelve de golpe. Al apaciguarse la tormenta, se revela la extensa ciudad a tu alrededor, como si se limpiase la arena de un mosaico. A lo lejos ves la silueta de Ozas. Me salta un punto muy importante ahí, levantando su puño en señal de triunfo y victoria.
Keep falling asleep on me. I'm gonna have to start walking behind you with a pillow. Oh, by the way, the storm's gone. Also, I think Aethys has ended in the world. It seems we're all still here.
If all your missions involve this many head wounds, then I volunteer to set the next one out.
Bueno, los principios son los que me han seguido. Vale, imagino que ahora que hemos disipado esto podemos ir a... Ah, no.
So now it comes to this, Aimiko. You think to steal my golden dream, but I will not allow it to happen.
Yo solamente quiero acabar con esto.
My gratitude is yours for disabling the storms. It seems I did not require Ivan's ship to reach Yukaizo in the end.
No me obligues a hacerte daño, que tengo cosas pendientes todavía con
You
Eozas.
jest in the face of your death, huh? Allow me to admit how grandly I will enjoy until the next life. Nor perhaps not.
Pero si no me sacas nivel ninguno, ¿me estás contando? ¿Sabes? ¿Si ya te has muerto? ¿O algo más? No he flipado. El furrante este. El de los furros. Madre mía, qué flipado de mierda.
Hey, we had some good times.
Ah, vale, puedo ir ahora por aquí. Ok. Igual debería poner el combate por turnos. Combate final tendré que hacerlo por turnos seguro.
You descend into the ancient winding streets of Ukaizo. Battered by storms for thousands of years, the ruins bear the marks of their role as the lone witnesses of the god's great secret at the center of the city. The houses and boulevards are pierced by great spears of luminous Audra. There are no ashen bodies, no birds, no sign or sound of any life. But with every step, the rhythmic pounding in the distance draws nearer. Soon, you can feel the vibration traveling up your spine.
Vale, entiendo que nosotros vamos a llegar a un momento en el que vamos a estar aquí hablando con Euzas, ¿no? O sea, es lo que significa esta... Que por cierto, no me había fijado en mirar los huesos. Qué
As you
guapo.
approach the center of the city, the weathered architecture gives way to more luminous Audra, piercing the ruins, eventually overtaking them entirely. Cresting the top of a fallen tower, you finally get a clear view of Aethys. He stands, legs astride, next to a great stone monument ringed with 11 cavernous alcoves. All but 3 hold a gargantuan skeleton, bones scrubbed clean by the city's storms.
Son los... ¡Hala! Claro, son los dioses. Pero ¿y cómo que faltan 3?
An immense Angwithan
¿No?
machine floats above the monument, suspended by invisible energy emanating from a well of light beneath it. Great brass rings spin around a core of metal and Audra at the machine's center. Periodically, Aethys's massive arms swing back. The movement alone is enough to draw great gusts of wind toward him. When they come down on the machine, the impacts are accompanied by eruptions of electricity, fire, and smoke. The hundreds of luminous Audra pillars across Ukaizo sympathetically dim in a rippling wave that spreads out from the machine. The only safe route to the god is a steep ascent along a monstrous pillar of luminous Audra. Intertwined with fragments of Ukaizo's ruins that it has carried through the centuries. The pillar bends in a long arc, towering above the machine. The pillar levels out near Aethys's head, a silent observer to the destruction of the machine it has grown beside over thousands of years. You weave your way along a treacherous rain-slicked path up the pillar's skyward side. As you arrive at the top, you catch Aethys's attention. Fist pulled back, he pauses to observe you. With the same gentleness he showed at Ashen Maw, he lowers his arm and turns toward you.
Pero si apoyo a Euzas tendré que enfrentarme a los dioses.
It may be hard to picture, but this city was once full of life. The Huana, yes, but also kith from many other cultures. Great hanging trees shadowed these boulevards. Gardens sprawled across the open rooftops. Each spring, a festival procession would wind its way from the hillside into this valley. The celebrants would pass through a steep walk among the stalls of foreign merchants, flowers falling upon them from all sides. All people of all nations, together in a celebration of new life. Such was the power and beauty of lost Ukaizo.
This isn't right. You can't put this burden on us. You can't make the gods' problems, our responsibility to fix.
Pues yo creo que sí.
How can you have faith that what you're doing is good? You know how many people are going to suffer because of this. No matter how you spin this, you can't set it straight.
Adair, I wish I could explain it to you. It breaks my heart that I cannot. But no matter how much you curse me, do not despair. The souls of this world will need people like you. Lights burning brightly in the darkness to come.
What right do you have to do this? Destroy the wheel and leave us with nothing? Without even knowing what will come next?
Aloth, we are all gods and mortals, responsible for our own actions. But inaction carries its own moral responsibility. It is a burden I have carried for far too long.
Chapo. Chapo lo que acaba de decir. Muchas veces el no hacer nada supone estar tomando cierta decisión y que puede afectar a muchas personas, ¿eh? Tenerlo mucho en cuenta. Muchas veces es decir, no, yo paso de esto, no quiero inmiscuir y demás, cuando te afecta directamente y podrías cambiar las cosas para bien. No hacer nada supone que estás haciendo posiblemente algo malo. O sea, a ver, no hagas nada que no quieras hacer, ¿no? Pero esto pasa a menudo, ¿eh?
One must always do as their conscience dictates, even if that means abdicating a position of power.
Rawatai gave everything they had to reach this place. In the end, they fell short of hitting the mark. Will we ever have another chance to prosper? Or was this damn island our last hope?
Only you can answer that question, Maya. Rawatai has persevered through great adversity. The storms that ravaged your homeland have ended. But that in itself may present new challenges for your people. It is my hope that after I am gone, Rawatai will work together with its rivals to create a new
Claro,
world.
se me ha olvidado.
But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel?
Quiero que vayas más allá y no rompas la rueda. Quiero que la destruyas por completo.
I've heard you say some crazy things in our time together, but that just about beats them all.
No. This is Remergon's doing. You cannot believe this is what is best for us, Watcher. Why would you ask me to do such a thing?
Ah, no, claro, esto... Claro, no, fuck. Lo he malinterpretado yo. Aunque bueno, siempre dentro de la vida, en todas sus formas, eso...
Even Remergond is not so hateful that he would give such a... No, Watcher. Indulge me in a moment's curiosity. There is something I wish to know about you meant I...
No me interesa nada esto, gente. No me interesa nada esto, pero voy a cargar partida.
Unfortunately, your legend will not last. This doubt. Wait, the death of Aora begins with the bones of Aora's dead sink into the soil.
Ya habéis visto uno de los finales. Ya habéis visto uno de los finales. A tomar por culo todo. Me he equivocado. Pensaba, no me han interpretado yo. Pensaba que se explicaba otra cosa, gente. Eso no cuenta. Eso no cuenta. Pero no va a haber combate en todo. Bueno, a lo mejor es este final en concreto, ¿no? Sí, claro, ahora pueden pasar muchas cosas. Puede pasar que mis aliados se vuelvan en contra mía. Puede ser que los dioses intenten hacer algo para pararlo y tengan un combate. O puede ser que Ozas le diga que pare y se enfade y me quiera atacar. Vale.
Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel?
Los mortales van a necesitar... Los mortales van a necesitar algún tipo de ventaja para evitar que los dioses vuelvan a hacerse con el control. Debes motivarlos.
Mortals are already inspired. It is what has pushed them on for hundreds of generations to reach this point in time. Animancy is poised to go far beyond what we Ingwithans ever discovered. Why does Helia think I should lend more power to mortals?
Quiero asegurarme de que los dioses. Quiero asegurarme de que Huedica no toma la delantera en la guerra que está por
It's
llegar.
true that even with all the advances in animancy, the gods will enter into this era much more well prepared than mortals. From where should mortals draw their inspiration? Very well, Watcher. I will ensure that mortals are inspired by my passing, that my power not be expended in vain. Indulge me in a moment's curiosity. There is something I wish to know about Eora, about Kith, that I can only learn through your eyes.
¿Qué puedo saber yo que no sepas
You
tú?
followed me all this way, dodging an armada, navigating an impenetrable wall of storms, voyaging across uncharted seas, besting a guardian who existed to bar your trespass, with the machinations of gods echoing in your ears. And you did so on your own. That is no small achievement. Kith across Eora will hear the tale of it, and look to you with awe. I believe that mortals possess the strength to collaborate and shape a future of their own design. Not all of my brothers and sisters agree. I had hoped your actions would set an example for the future, demonstrating the resilience and ingenuity of mortals when they work together.
Pues no, lo siento mucho, pero no.
Coming to Ukaizo unencumbered by alliances proves a different point than the one I intended. But it is a valuable one, all the same. What inspired your decision, Watcher? Did the choice echo your foundational beliefs? Or were you influenced by observation?
Trabajo solo.
I thank you for your perspective.
Así de
Yours
simple.
is not the only opinion that concerns me. But for the moment, it offers much to consider. All I ever wanted for mortals
Bueno,
was
solo
growth,
trabajo con mis compañeros, ¿no?
transformation.
Pero,
Once, my brothers and sisters shared this goal.
o sea, no voy a estar perdiendo el tiempo en disputas políticas y gente que quiere sus propios beneficios y que no conozco del todo, no puedo confiarles el destino del mundo a gente con la que no confío. O sea, no puedo. Trabajo mejor solo con mi gente.
Some have forgotten themselves, giving into fatalism or tyranny. Others have succumbed to apathy.
Aunque si hubiera tenido que elegir, habría elegido a los Suanas, ¿eh? A la reina. O los Rautai a lo mejor.
It brings me great sorrow that crisis is the only way to set the future in motion. Would that I could pass the responsibility of heralding your darkest hour to another. You shirked the aid of others and came this far alone. But I think you'll find that the future is built on trust, cooperation, and understanding among Kith.
Lo comprendo. O sea, sí, entiendo que con lo que se va a liar, pues sí.
I must attend to my final work now. I cannot delay any longer. You have carried a heavy burden across the Deadfire, Watcher. Before I go, I would rid you of it.
Nada más terminar el discurso de Ozas y haber asimilado sus palabras, escuchas un último y disonante tañido del carrillón dentro de ti, seguido del silencio. El nudo que se había formado cuando la dama pálida se dirigió a ti por primera vez en el más allá ha
You
desaparecido.
are free now, as free as any of us can be. Many will come to you for help in the years ahead. Animancers, priests, even the gods themselves. I have great hope for you. But always remember that your future is for you to decide. Use your freedom well.
Me cae muy bien, Ozas. Me cae muy bien.
Aethys squares himself to the machine. As you move to a safe distance, he draws his fist back and resumes his assault. The blows rain down with increased fervor, but the machine perseveres in spite of his efforts. Spreading his arms wide, Aethys draws power from the luminous Audra clustered around the valley. The energy courses through his body, limbs overflowing with intense light and waves of heat. He returns to his task, each strike bringing with it the sound of cracking stone and twisting metal, the flickering of luminous Adra across Ukaizo, as the ancient machine finally begins to succumb to his strength. So too does Aethys's body, built to withstand the passage of thousands of years. The great Adra statue has finally been pushed beyond its limits. Cracks appear along the hands, then race up the arms. Aethys does not slow his assault, but continues unabated. Its brass rings twisted. The machine spins erratically but withstands the relentless barrage. Aethys stands astride it and pummels the base of the machine. Soul energy begins to flare out from the machine's heart, warping the air with the intense heat. Aethys drives his right fist into the machine's center, the core of metal and Adra. The god lets out a deafening shout, something between a cry of anguish and a roar of exultation. You see Aethys's arm shatter upward from his hand through his elbow. A flash of light and heat bursts from the core, accompanied by a cacophony of destruction. The moment passes as Aethys's shout echoes throughout the valley. Your eyes begin to recover. The god's work is accomplished. As Aethys's voice fades, the enormity of what you've accomplished sinks in. You have confronted a god. You have rediscovered the ancient city where the wheel was forged, and you have seen the wheel shattered. What comes next is uncertain, but already the legend spreads of the Watcher, who survived Andra's mortar and stood toe-to-toe with Aethys. On your recommendation, Aethys disperses his essence and that of the thousands of souls within him to centers of knowledge and learning around the world. Animancers, engineers, wizards, and scholars of all stripes make astounding breakthroughs in understanding and harnessing the phenomena that govern Eora. While some of these developments prove beneficial to Kith, others are decidedly less so. But such is the price of innovation. What remains to be seen is how, indeed whether, they will restore the cycle Aethys has broken. In reaching Ukaizo and facing Aethys, you have accomplished the impossible. And you have done it without the assistance of the great powers of Deadfire. Your feats capture the awe and imagination of a world that needs heroes more than ever. Some say your intervention prevented Aethys from a far worse act of destruction. Many believe you will be the salvation of Eora.
Pues que no busquen a Skaz. Skaz ha ido de vacaciones. Skaz ha ido a aportar algo después de esto.
With each day, your legend grows, as does the chaos in Deadfire. Ukaizo remains unclaimed, and the Efekia Channel becomes the site of a near-constant battle as the Huana and the Rawatayans vie for control of the unprotected island. The Rawatayans rely on their cannons, and the Huana call forth massive waves and beasts of the deep to sink their foes. And while they chip away at one another, the Valians and the Principi pursue their own ends with increasing abandon. Emboldened by their rivals' distraction, the Valian Trading Company seizes territory and mines luminous Adra at a startling pace. Huana villages are left at the mercy of unscrupulous speculators.
Es que esta compañía
are swarmed and
hay que ser un poco cabrón para apoyarla, ¿eh?
To support their operations, the Valian Trading Company begins shipping ever greater quantities of supplies and luminous Adra to and from the archipelago. This attracts the attention of the Principi, who target these ships with increasing aggression. The promise of fat prizes draws even more pirates to their ranks. The Rawatayans, as well as the Huana.
También digo, me parece increíble que con la que se ha liado, con el cambio que supone esto, esta gente siga igual. O sea, deberían de plantearse las cosas.
The mysterious deaths of Governor Clario and Storm Speaker Ikawa provoke hostilities between the Valian settlers and the Huawan residents. What starts with angry words escalates to retaliatory killings as each side blames the other.
Todo mal.
By the time anyone bothers to question the strange coincidences surrounding their deaths, including reports of a cloaked Omawi woman seen in both the port and the village, both sides have gone too far to turn back. As the balance of power changes in Deadfire, so too does Nekataka transform. With the major powers at one another's throats, Nekataka becomes a maelstrom of chaos. Spies and smugglers follow the flow of refugees into the city, where violence is commonplace. Ukaizo remains the coveted prize, and Nekataka fades into an afterthought. Largely forgotten amidst more prominent concerns, the gullet continues to be a miserable place, especially for those Raparu who flee to Nekataka seeking a haven amidst the turmoil. For them, the Grand City is a promise cruelly broken. The loss of Skiarilifus's essence weakens the Water Shapers Guild. Their power wanes and their influence fades. The art of water shaping survives as an arcane curiosity.
Bueno, esto me da igual.
Your brief encounter with Letharn proves deeply influential for the children of the Dawnstars. He comes to recognize his nightmares and the scene at Hisongo as Aethys's final warning to his people. Unite in strength and faith, or perish forever. As word of Aethys's deeds at Ukaizo spreads, his fellow Dawnstars take this message to heart. The faith of the children of the Dawnstars brightens. Aethys returned to give the world the greatest gift of all, hope. In response, they continue feeding, healing, and helping the neediest in Deadfire, just as they have for decades. It remains their holy mission, and they will persevere in love and faith. Ruanu, the chieftain of the Huana at Tikawara, dies mysteriously. The tribe finds his body washed up on the same beach where Anaharu challenged him to the trial of waves. Some blame Anaharu's vengeful spirit. Others see it as Ngati's final judgment. And a few speak of a strange man seen lingering in the village. The leaderless tribe eventually scatters. Some head to Nekataka, while others seek out the Wahaki. Ships continue to disappear at the southeastern fringe of the archipelago, and stories circulate of a colony
Buah,
of
esto
vampires
no
and
lo
monks
hice.
preying
Este
on their
combate.
crews.
Esto no llega. Me quedé aquí, intenté el combate fuera de cámara mientras estaba subiendo de niveles y demás. Y no era capaz. Tendría que haberlo hecho. Es que limpié toda la parte porque no en estos sitios es cuando se consiguen las maderas. Una de las maderas que hace falta. Se consiguen en esta zona. Y desbloqueé la puerta y todo. Y llegué hasta aquí arriba, hice el combate 2 veces, vi que no podía. Y no he vuelto después de subir de nivel la segunda vez. Ni bajé la dificultad ni nada. Pero esto sí que tenía que haberlo acabado. Porque es que hice todo menos esta parte.
The Dead Flow, an iceberg in the southern sea, continues to grow unchecked. As the ice spreads, so too do wild tales of a hideous dragon rampaging across the Deadfire.
Dios, de esto no tenía yo noticias.
Word spreads of the primal island of Kazuwari, once home to an arena that hosted bloody competitions and fearsome ordeals. Wild tales whisper that the spilled blood attracted a terrible beast of scale
Esta
and
misión
fang
tampoco la hice.
that slaughtered those gathered at the island before destroying the great enchanted statue that
Esta
oversaw
es la
the
misión
island's trials.
de la cabeza. Que aparece
Absent
en una
its
caja.
guiding voice, Kazuwari descends into anarchy. A vast monstrosity of tentacles and flesh erupts from the Black Isles in the eastern Deadfire, before vanishing into the depths. None know what drives the titanic beast, nor where it will appear next, or what destruction it might wreak when it rises.
Menos mal que me enfrento yo a esto.
Though your adventures alter the destiny of Aora and the balance of power in Deadfire, they also leave a lasting mark on those who travel at your side. Your companions find themselves changed, in ways both big and small. In the days sailing back from Ukaizo, Adair finds himself disillusioned with all gods. his own above all. Where the gods have touched Deadfire, he sees only destruction, loss, and emptiness. He casts off all symbols of Aethys, and even begins refusing to use his name. Ultimately, he chooses to remain with you on the Defiant, knowing if any mortal is to have the final word in a conflict with the gods, it will be
Ese
the
soy yo.
Watcher of Cadnua. Shodi is not a priestess who understands the meaning of subtlety. As such, she makes her girlish crush on Adair painfully obvious from the moment she first sets eyes on the strapping fighter. Early in your travels, Adair appears discomforted by her persistent flirting. He often grimaces when she sidles up to him, and he takes endless pains to keep their conversations terse and to the point. But after a little smoothing on your part to nudge them in the right direction, Adair makes an effort to view Shodi with an open mind. And Shodi begins teasing the veteran fighter in a more companionable and less amorous manner. After saving each other's hides a couple times and sharing more than a few laughs, the two form an easy, and you suspect, lifelong friendship. Shodi's journey through the Deadfire on your ship is an eye-opening experience for the sheltered farm girl. After many souls harvested, more lives aided, and much adventure had, the priestess declares her intent to rejoin her fellow missionaries at the Temple of Gon in Neketaka. Following a shy grin and an overzealous handshake, Shodi leaves you with an open invitation to visit her anytime. It is some months later when she pens you a missive. Can you hardly believe it? Her chicken scratch handwriting reads. Saw when sailing for distant lands. She's leaving me in charge of the temple. I've been named the High Priestess of Gon. Aloth renews his commitment to destroying the Leaden Key. With the wheel broken, loosening the god's stranglehold on Kith is more urgent than ever. It is a lofty goal, and one he does not expect to finish in his lifetime. But if there's one thing he's learned from the Watcher, it's that a single person can change the world. Seraphin seems little impacted by your journey. Always knew the gods were larger than me, he tells you, on the evening he decides to part from your company. He's too long put aside those he cares most for. He confesses over a bottle of rum, and he's got leagues to sail to make it right. The following morning, he's gone, leaving only a crude stick figure rendering of Aethys, scrawled into the hull to mark his passage. Pleased with the Navy's conduct throughout the Deadfire campaign, Maya returns to active duty. She can find a free drink and a sharp salute anywhere she goes in Rawatayan territory. In recognition of her performance, the Navy attempts to give Maya less strenuous work. She flatly refuses, throwing herself into the fray whenever she can. Though Maya's covert assignment in the Deadfire is considered a success, few claim knowledge of it or openly congratulate her. She receives no praise beyond knowing glances or the occasional raised tankard from her countrymen. She never responds. She looks forward to seeing her brother again. So does Ashiza. Takehu distances himself from the problems of the Deadfire, giving the tribes a reprieve.
Le dijimos, venga, vente con nosotros, pero...
And Gati's silence speaks volumes. The Huana grow to rely on each other, paving a new way forward divorced from their traditions. Soon after he departs Neketaka, distant tribes report of unusual and salacious water sculptures appearing on the shores. These quaint visitations are widely celebrated, the identity of the artist ever an open question. He bids you farewell, suggesting that you seek your next adventure in a brothel or tavern, where consequences begin and end at the front door. He sounds eager to leave old conflicts in the past. Your pursuit of Aethys and your journey to Ukaizo signal the end of forces that have shaped the lives of Kith and the course of nations. The cycle of reincarnation has been broken. The storms of Andra's mortar have calmed. Yet each ending promises a new beginning. As the sun rises over Ukaizo, Kith turn their gaze eastward, wondering at what lies beyond, and at the world they will fashion for themselves. As the Watcher of Cadnua and the former Herald of Bareth, you return to your ship and begin the long journey home. You hope for calm weather.
Sé que no escuchéis el aplauso, pero... Pues se acabó, gente. Se acabó aquí. Perfecto, porque justamente ayer... Esto vais a ver el día 23, si no me equivoco. 23 de mayo. Creo que es 22 o 23, como mucho 24. Yo lo estoy grabando el día 18, quiere decir que el día 17 ayer salió el Uber Rising. Me lo he comprado esta mañana, todavía no lo he jugado. Ya es tarde, ya es bastante tarde como para grabar un vídeo hoy, pero bueno. Seguramente, aparte, para vosotros ya desde hace tiempo, desde hace más de una semana tendréis vídeos de Uber Rising, pero seguramente tendréis ese tipo de vídeos. Y si no hay vídeos nuevos, si no hay mucho contenido, esperar hasta principios de junio, que cuando salga la expansión del Deus Online, la traducción, le voy a dar cañita. Es posible que vuelva a tomarme un pequeño descanso, aunque con el Uber Rising depende de cuánto contenido le pueda sacar Uber Rising, cuánto contenido de vídeo, ¿vale? No contenido de jugar, lo voy a jugar, porque no tengo nada que jugar hasta el 6 de junio creo que es, ¿no? Pero es verdad que a lo mejor aprovecho para no grabar juegos, simplemente jugar un rato al día y preparar cosillas de rol, que quiero darle bastante caña al rol, que también estoy pendiente de algunas cosas, pero quiero... ha habido una semana que no he hecho vídeo de lore, entonces para la semana siguiente igual tampoco puedo hacerlo, porque este fin de semana tengo lío con el rol. Tengo lío importante, de hecho. Bueno, esta semana, para vosotros la semana anterior realmente. Entonces, no sé, a lo mejor hay dos semanas que no subo vídeo de lore, pero intentaré compensarlo subiendo más. Que bueno, ahora que acaba el juego, pues intentaré hacer algo así. No sé qué voy a hacer. Lo que sí que os puedo asegurar es que en junio, cuando salga la actualización del Deus Online con la traducción y la nueva expansión, que creo que ya la precompré, si no la precompraré, pues le voy a dar caña. Así que nada, gente, espero que os haya gustado. Como siempre, si es así, darle like al vídeo, suscribiros al canal, dejar comentarios y ese tipo de cosas. Y si no queréis, no lo hagáis, no pasa absolutamente nada. Nos vemos en el siguiente. Hasta luego.